So basically, I talked to all sorts of people on my show. At some point, Jimmy started calling in, and we know Jimmy is Jimmy from Philly, and he would bring to me different ideas and questions, and I found Jimmy to be an interesting character, a sad character in many ways, a concerning character in some ways as well. I think our rapport is sort of okay, although Jimmy does regularly say, homophobic things, transphobic things, racist things, etc. And I think there's probably a lot to dig into there about the sort of origins or oranges of that. A couple things I'll mention about, our dialogue with Jimmy. Jimmy has talked to me about his problems with alcohol, and you guys can probably see he's got some bottles there over his right shoulder, and that's something I've talked to Jimmy about before. Jimmy has talked about how he has a daughter, but at least at one point wasn't allowed to see her because of some physical violence that Jimmy was at least I'll say he was accused of, and we'll maybe leave it to Jimmy to tell us more about the specifics of that. Jimmy was also arrested not long ago because of, as I understand it, chasing a car with 4 black teenagers down the street while intoxicated. And that led to a sort of legal situation as well for Jimmy. And that's kind of the Jimmy that I know big picture. And every once in a while, Jimmy will say something that's sort of open, and he seems open to considering other ideas, etc. But very quickly, he'll go back into the transphobia, the homophobia, the racism, and that's Jimmy as far as my relationship with him, which has been through the internet and through my show.
Quite the introduction. So I want to just clarify a couple things. So I noticed, David mentioned like alcohol use and things like that. So just to clarify and make sure we're all on the same page, Jimmy, I am a psychiatrist, but my understanding of this conversation is that, I'm not here because David's here too. We're going to just 3 people having a conversation. I wanted to just make sure that, are you under the impression that I'm your medical doctor or that I'm here to diagnose you with anything, treat you for anything? Okay. So we're just going to have a conversation and try to understand each other better. So the goal of what we do, the reason I stream is just so that we can try to understand people better and share that understanding with everyone who's watching. Are you kind of cool with that?
Yes.
Just so you understand, if after the call, if you do sort of decide that you do want mental health support or treatment or things like that, you're welcome to kind of message us and we can kind of provide you with resources. We do that for every, guest that comes on. But that's kind of at your request. We're not going to push anything on you or recommend anything or anything like that. It's just sometimes
I'm sure just fine.
Okay. So Jimmy, is it okay if I kind of ask you, do you want to share a little bit? Like, do you want to offer an introduction or I've got a couple of questions already. So first of all, like, how did it feel to hear David's kind of like litany of how he introduced you?
Well, he's gotten a lot of it wrong, actually.
Okay.
When I did the call with him last year, I clearly said that they were 4 black 20-somethings, not teenagers. This didn't occur in Philadelphia. It occurred in the suburb of Philadelphia. Let's see, what else? I was arrested for public drunkenness, but I beat the case. They had a video of me going after a car. It doesn't prove that I was drunk. They had arrested me because I was off the video showed them that I was off the property, and they said I was publicly drunk. The video showed that I was angry, not that I was drunk. I was drunk.
Okay.
But I was I wasn't that drunk. They were ready to let me go at the police station. I said the M word in the back of the police car, so they wouldn't let me go.
Sure. So what I'm kind of hearing is that, like, you didn't get a fair rap from David.
Well, Doc, here's what happened. Okay, so I'm a Trump supporter. I have signs on my lawn. They continued to get stolen, right? So I sat out there and was guarding them. And I'm drinking a little bit while I'm out there. 4 black men bum rush the lawn. They take signs real quick. And they ride around the block taunting me 3 times. Fuck Whitey, fuck Trump. The second time they did it, I ran in the house. I got a knife. Third time, they got caught at the light. I ran after the car. I was a little tipsy. I stabbed the top of the tire. I should have stabbed the sidewall, but the knife disintegrated in my hand, and they got out of the car laughing and chased me back to the house. And some nitwit took a video of me doing this, and they gave it to the cops, and the cops locked me up for public drunkenness. But I beat the case because they never showed up. They didn't have a case. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, thanks for sharing that, Jimmy. I appreciate it. But what I'm kind of curious about is like when you have kind of your side of the story, and like I was frankly kind of shocked. I mean, David, is it okay if I be critical of you for a second?
Please, I would love it.
Yeah. So like here he is introducing you, and like he starts off with like bottles in the back and like got arrested for this, and like, you know, it's kind of a weird way
David's a real charmer.
Yeah, I mean, how does that? I mean, like, because it's almost like he's sharing like the most negative or provocative things about you.
Well, David's a propagandist. What can I tell you? I mean, he's good at it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how does that make you kind of feel to be?
I was laughing
like
the entire time. If you were looking,
I noticed that. Yeah, that's what I was kind of asking, right? Because
I don't get offended easy, Doc. If that's what you're getting at, I really don't. People can say what they want. I really don't care.
Yeah, so okay.
I'm a generally happy person. So yeah. Now see, what David wants to make hay out of it in this situation is basically that I'm crazy for going after the car. Well, I had two choices, Doc. How many men are going to sit there when four men come onto their lawn, take their property, I don't give a shit what it was, took four of my Trump signs, then they have the temerity to drive around the neighborhood 3 times yelling racial epithets at me, pointing me with the signs out the window, and I'm just supposed to sit there like a little soy boy? I don't think so. That's not going to happen. That's not the type of person I am. I am going to do something about it. Right or wrong, I'm going to jail. I don't give a fuck. You do something like that to me, you're going to get held responsible in some kind of way. And, you know, I think the whole thing's funny. The whole thing's funny. You know, I think.
Jimmy, you kind of said that's not the kind of person I am. Can you help me understand what kind of person you are?
Well, apparently David would have sat on the wall and watched these morons ride around and taunt him. David thought it was crazy for me to go after them.
Yeah, so Jimmy, I'm going to I may do something a little bit unusual. I may sort of ask a question again. So like when I ask you, like you said, that's not the kind of person I am. And you say, well, David would have done this. Like, I'm not interested in what kind of person
David has the soy boy. Like in other words, I had two choices, right? I was either to call the police or do nothing. But David was trying to make me sound crazy that I actually took action and went after these people that just stole from me.
And do you
I'm
find
saying I'm not the kind of person that's going to sit there and watch something like that. Fuck
yeah, sure.
I'm going to
get it. Yeah, you know, I get that. So I'm. Do you oftentimes? So what I'm hearing is that, like, you know, a lot of people in your situation kind of may lay down and take it, but you're not going to lay down and take it.
Well, yeah, but this was basically a thing David put out there. You know, like I was nuts for taking action. I was not crazy. That is the type of person I am, and I wouldn't blame a guy for not doing nothing.
Sure.
You know
so
what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, and do you find that oftentimes, you know, people try to like paint you as crazy by sort of sharing stories like this or things like that?
Well, I am a little nuts, Doc. I have no problem with that.
I
do things that most people wouldn't do. I'm very aware of that. That is my personality. That's how I am.
Can you help me understand that a little bit? Like, what do you do that other people wouldn't? Like, help me understand, like, who are you, bro?